It's a beautiful day on November 19th. So today I'm going to give you guys a quick, just kind of state of the union, like leadership update, what's going on in the macro environment, what's going on in the micro environment. I will touch on post-election, what happens in the market, what do you need to be paying attention to, how does the market react now that there's certainty? So I'll touch on that a little bit. And then Kim Rogney is going to jump in and jump into some coaching and leadership for the value portion of today's. Sound good? Love it. All right, so let's jump into the State of the Union from a leadership standpoint. So, about 5 weeks ago, we made a transition in the team leader role in this market center to identify a new leader in Southwest. Love Deej. Deej has been a loyal person in my environment for a long time and done a lot of cool things with us. And in that, it took me a little bit of time to figure out where we are and what we're going and what we're looking for out of a next leader. And in fairness to Deej, there were things that, look, I love Deej and I'm going to help Deej figure out what's next. Do I know what's next for Deej and does Deej know what's next? Probably not, but we're going to figure it out together. And I just knew based on what I desired to happen here and what we needed out of the next leader, I needed to make a change. I own that. Totally cool. But the weight of that weighs heavy on me. So I don't want you to think that decision was made in jest, or that I made the decision and I realized I had some things going on Tuesdays that it hasn't allowed me to be here in a while, but it's not as if there aren't things happening in the background too, of how I'm looking at people and talent. So having said all that, one of the things I'm doing, and this happened yesterday and I'm going to send a note out today, is I'm moving in. I took over Deej's office downstairs right behind Brooke. You'll see some personal things in there that I moved in yesterday because I knew if I had personal things within the space, you're going to see me. Basically, here's what you can expect from me. I will be here Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Tuesdays, I will be here for team meeting, but I also have to run a team meeting for roughly 300 to 400 people at 9 a.m. So I'm being pulled in different directions on Tuesday mornings until I can get here in the afternoon. Outside of that, and I'll send this in a note this afternoon, all my meetings, all my recruiting appointments, any one-on-ones I have with either agents or internal or in our other locations, they're either going to meet me here or they will be on virtual and I will be sitting here for the time being. Part of it is I've done this before. I know how to be a team leader. I'm a team leader at heart, and I know what part of it is me getting more entrenched into the community down here and understanding what the community might need, want, or desire so that I can identify the next leader. And if I'm sitting here, I can be patient because I can deliver on what you need. If I'm not sitting here and I'm trying to find for that, it makes it difficult from a perception standpoint as to what's happening. I totally recognize that. And so what you'll see and you can expect from me is I'll be here effectively 4 days a week. And if you need anything, pop on the door and ask. Happy to set up one-on-ones, and everything else that I have within my schedule of what's expected of me will happen through here. Cool? Cool. Having said that, I'm looking for great talent. What I would tell you in the macro picture of the organization, in the last 4 weeks, we transitioned, and this is a true fact, we've transitioned about $400 million in market share into the Keller Williams umbrella. That is stress testing our systems. Because if I'm being honest, who we were 10 years ago as an organization and where we need to become in order to serve the associates, leveraging our economies of scale in order to add more resources and take more people, and I got to find more talent. So the reason why I share that with you is if you have interest in leadership or someone, it does not need to be anybody in real estate, or you know someone who's seeking opportunity, put them in front of me. Because I have a variety of roles I'm looking to fill because we are restructuring the entirety of our organization in order to make it more cohesive in all locations. I've talked a lot about making that happen. So some things I just wanted to put on your radar, and that also so that I can be honest and transparent with you about what you can expect from me. And I, for all intents and purposes, the acting team from now until we identify what that looks like. I would also be remiss if I didn't thank Tina. Tina, I went to Tina. Tina was looking to do something else, and I knew that another decision was pending. And Tina and I went on a walk. I said, Tina, I'm about to make a move, but I need your help. And would you stick it out with me while I can get the dust settled in my feet underneath me and help me support the Southwest Associates while we figure that out? And Tina was incredibly gracious of her time, talent, energy, and helping me while we kind of transition leadership. And Tina, for that, I can't thank you enough for being so great.
That we had fun leading this meeting. Are you expecting a cake for that?
Yeah. Tina's the queen of surprise. No, for all kidding purposes aside, Tina helped me do a real solid while I had some other major projects I had, and I could get those off my plate. So you're probably like, okay, what does all this matter and how does this impact me? Look, between Scott and I are in communication a lot still. Like, Scott's going to help me and support me. I'm coming in and stepping in the chair, and I'll be in the chair until we find the right person. And I say that because I'm patient, and I know that's agents struggle with patience at times because we're an immediate gratification society. But like, look, I've hired the wrong team leader before, and I've had to fire the wrong team leader really fast before in other locations, and it's painful. And I don't want to do that, and it's very disruptive to the agent, and it's disruptive to the wrong hire I made. And so I just said, well, while I organize things, other people in other places, and reassign responsibilities so that it would allow me to come down here and be that person for what you and expect. Is that cool? Comments, questions, feedback? No? Pretty straightforward. This group's not usually shy with feedback, so I'm used to the game show this group likes to.
Are you gonna play a game?
Yeah. So let's play a game. Tony, you want to? I've been on this challenge the last couple of weeks around to whom much is given, much is expected. Okay. And for that, I got to thank a bunch of people in this room. For perspective, we've been talking about the United Way and how the United Way impacts around 220 partner organizations in southeastern Wisconsin. It's a way for organizations like us to make a big impact in a variety of different ways without us making and choosing. Now, we still do things like we support the Honor Flight because we're big into veterans initiatives, and we do Axe Housing because Axe is totally aligned with what we do professionally every day. And there's other things in Milwaukee that we support, but the United Way is a great way to give back during the holiday season. So for the last 2 weeks, we ran a campaign. 3 years ago, we started the campaign. A lot of people don't really know what the United Way is unless you've been touched by the United Way in some way. And we raised $6,000. And I was just super stoked with $6,000. Last year, we raised 20 grand across all locations, all Milwaukee associates. We raised 20 grand. So this year I said, hey, let's raise 25 grand and let's see what we can do. And just wanted to say thank you to the group because we raised $32,235 to the United Way. A little bit in that too, from a roster engagement standpoint, like, this takes time to seed. And what I mean by that is, like, in Southwest, I think this might be the first year that we ran a United Way campaign as a part of the global campaign that we've done. So don't take like where the engagement set is anything more than just like the more we do things, the more people see things, the more they learn how to give of their time. Yet for those that did participate, sincerely appreciate it. And the challenge in it is I told them that our goal next year would be 30,000 because I thought we would get right over 25,000, and we'll have to up the goal again next year to see what we can do to make an impact. And you know, for an organization that didn't give any money to United Way 3 years ago, to give 32,000 3 years later is like an awesome testament to this group. Back. So I just wanted to thank the group for that and your participation. Also in that is we gave away a bunch of raffle prizes for those who participated and donated. And in the Southwest group, Alex DiMarco was a part of a group that won. And so Alex will be reaching out with your raffle prize item. So cool. Not food. So yeah, it's a late night at Pato. Also, last but not least, with regards to operations, is Energage Top Workplaces survey is out now. We have about a 36% response rate. We'd love to get it above 40. It's completely anonymous. We don't receive the feedback. It just helps me benchmark versus our peer group how our associates internally view their relationship with KW and how we benchmark versus other companies across all industries. So if you see that, would appreciate your participation in that. With that, Defender Dawn, what do these guys need to pay attention to?
Not a ton. We've been getting a couple questions on the compliance line about, hey, now that we're, what is this now? We're a couple months into the new changes. And so what are we seeing as a new normal? What are people expecting? What are buyers and sellers seeing? And so just a quick overview, and if you have specific questions, we can always talk about it on the compliance line. I don't want to take a ton of the meeting for this today. But just a reminder, as a buyer's agent, your biggest thing is future pacing your clients that, hey, we have a buyer agency agreement. We can write this into the offer in whatever way they choose. And then, we'll communicate if something doesn't come together. Is this something that works for you or not? So the biggest thing that I'm seeing from people is, hey, how do I express this to my buyer clients? And it's just future pacing them and having that conversation up front. Communicating with the listing agent. We're still having some people who are not sure if they should be writing commission into the offer to purchase or if they should be putting commission on a co-broke compensation agreement. Just a reminder that that's just a conversation with the listing agent. So have that conversation up front, find out how they prefer it. Did they write it into their listing contract, or are we doing this as concessions? And then a reminder that if your buyer agency needs to be, the amount that you are accepting as a co-broke is higher than the amount that was in your buyer agency agreement, you need to do an amendment to your buyer agency agreement to stay in compliance. And then as a listing agent, on the other side of things, just a reminder that, again, future pace your seller clients, even if they're not offering compensation, we've seen anything from 0 to 3%. So that's the expectation. We can look at an offer for the whole offer. There's not really a normal because there's not a normal. So just setting that expectation from the start if they're not offering it as a co-broke compensation. And then just a reminder that if you put your compensation into your listing contract, you should be sending that co-broke compensation agreement form versus having that written into the offer. If you have a combination of the two, then we're going to be talking about an amendment to adjust that to make sure that your client is only paying once. So if there's questions about that, always call the compliance line. And then just a reminder that it is license renewal time and GMAR dues time. So when you have those receipts, send them to Sarah Pap. If you have questions about that, just shout. Yes.
I thought I remember maybe at some talk on language on maybe listening for buyers contract about if they end up writing the offer on your listing contract.
We've been in conversation with our attorney, and I don't know that I'll have to go back and see if I don't think we came to a resolution about what would be most appropriate, but I'll look back at those emails and see if we had something come up. And I'll let you know. Yep, great question. Any other general questions?
Good.
Cool, awesome, thank you.
All right. I'm going to jump into training and education and then run into market stats, shall we? All right. So a couple quick updates for the group. No team meeting next week, the week of Thanksgiving. And then please plan and prep ahead. We are closing offices on Wednesday at noon to give our leadership team an opportunity to get out of the office early, start their holidays with their loved ones, and so that they're not showing up on Wednesday at 6 o'clock fried. We're getting them out of there at noon. Fair? You have access to any location 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with your fobs. November training calendar, you can see forthcoming. You guys know how to read. I trust you got things coming down the pike. Rainmaker Mastermind this week, Thursday at 3 p.m. We're going to start a quarterly Rainmaker Mastermind for those that lead teams. This is for those that lead teams. And we want to keep the room at a high level so that those Rainmakers are creating a safe space to collaborate. So the Rainmaker Mastermind is this week, Thursday. And then here's the December training calendar. Quick note on December training calendar. We are closing the offices the 24th, 25th, and 26th. They don't want someone at Christmas dinner having the Sunday scaries at 5 o'clock, but that they have to be back in the office on the 26th. So the way that I give back to my team in terms of the expectations I have of them is by giving them time with those that they love, and giving them additional time during periods of the holidays. It's also kind of wonky just because that the holidays this year fall in the middle of the week. So just want people to plan ahead on. Cool. Also note, you have access to the office 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and our team will be in on Monday and Friday of that week to ensure that we get the stuff going. Also, just note the next week, which is Tuesday, Wednesday, the 31st and the 1st, the offices will be closed as well. Cool? Sweet. Vision boards are forthcoming in the Southwest office. They'll be on December 3rd at 1 p.m. Want to get your vision board set? We'll have all the materials and supplies. I'll tell you this. I've been doing a vision board since I was a kid. I used to think it was a stupid art project that my parents made us do. It's the truth. And now that I'm an adult and I've matured, I understand the power of positive affirmations and how you set forth something into your vision and how you help achieve it. I've been doing them now for too long to count. And I will tell you more often than not, what I put on my vision board, I ultimately come to achieving because I see it every day. There's a real power in it. So join us on the 3rd at 1 p.m. to build out your vision board. Cool? Love it. Holiday party at the P. Pfister Hotel. Okay. It's Thursday, December 5th. Now, I will address a few things as it relates to the P. Pfister. Many of you took advantage of discounted rooms last year at the St. Kate. There are discounted rooms. Those discounted rooms close. The room block closes this week, Thursday. I like the room block. You know why? It's a good risk mitigation strategy. Okay. So there's 550 plus people who have already RSVP'd. Everybody gets a +1. It's our highest engaged event we run of the year because it's a way for people to really show their spouse, partner, best friend, whoever, what it is the community that they're a part of. And we try to make sure that it's a ton of fun. Last thing, and I got to give Krickebergs a shout because they put this on my radar. I was completely unaware that the Packers were playing Lions on Thursday, December 5th. So we rented out another ballroom that will have two 75-inch TVs. And anybody ever been to Camp Bar for a Packer game? We're bringing the Camp Bar experience to the P. Pfister Hotel. So Sound by Design, which is the DJ company, is also a sister company of Camp Bar. Those guys will be in there to run a true Packer experience with the bang on the drum all day, go Pack Go, the whole thing. On top of the casino tables, carving stations, and everything else you love. Last thing, and I'll tell you, it was totally on my mind. All right, who had to stand in line last year for a drink?
Oh, yeah.
We doubled the amount of bars, and we doubled the amount of bartenders. Cool? Cool?
So I do have a question.
Dress code, great question. There's no judgment. Typically, it's an event where it is people dress up in a bit more of an elevated fashion. They take it as however you want. We do try to bring it to you in an elevated experience, like doing it at the St. Kate or the Pfister. But like, if you show up in jeans and a pair of sneakers, because that's what you're most comfortable in, that's how we want you to show up. But I do know that people like to show up and show out. Totally cool. Yes, Robbie.
Is the hotel really fun?
You know, the question was, is the Fister really on?
Yes, they are.
Just drink more.
Robbie, how about this? Why don't you spend the night and let us know if it's on? Yeah, report back. Cool? Sweet. If you haven't RSVP'd yet, please do so. It's a way for us to appropriately allocate food and beverage. All right. Locally, the 4th annual Crickerburg holiday party within the office is Tuesday, December 10th.
It's gonna be fun. Everybody, if you could bring a little something to eat, snack or d'oeuvres, a little something, that would help because, you know, it's gonna be lunch. And it can't all be a liquid lunch.
I do recall last year I was exiting as people were going on the roof, and I was like, I don't know about this. Risk mitigation.
Yeah, that has been shut down.
All right. All right.
James locks.
Good. The landlord is present and he says, no,
No, both of them are. One of them is cleaning out the key. The other two.
no bueno.
That was for Allison Bradley.
Yeah, that's Bradley's part.
Yeah,
Oh, was that what it was?
Allison Bradley's idea.
My bad. All right. So let's jump into lore and market stats and what happens post-election. So a couple things I know that I get this request oftentimes for listing presentations, buyer presentations, update on lore. Couple things to note. As it stands today, Keller Williams in southeastern Wisconsin has 14% market share. KW Milwaukee Associates are sell homes 25% faster, working in an average price point that's 11% higher than the market. This is a highly productive group. Again, part of the reason why I share this with you is to appreciate the person on the left of you and the right of you, because you work in an incredible environment. Productivity is super high. Also, because I get this request a lot, the luxury stats. What's interesting here is if we have 14% of the market share over the overall market, we have 19.8% of the luxury market. This is for any home sold over $750,000. KW Associates sell 53% more luxury than the number 2 brand, and they sell them 37% faster. So come list with me. Cool. BCI across the Milwaukee area in KW, it was 4.8 million. It was down 5% versus October of last year. Yet year to date, it's 49.1 million, up 4.1%. And for profit share in the month of October, $71,000 across all locations in southeastern Wisconsin. That was up 15% versus prior year, and $730,000 so far year to date, which will be dropping into your bank account in the next 2 days. So the profit share piece is absolutely phenomenal, and there are a lot of people taking advantage of it. I would also share with you this. I got this question this morning at the team meeting. Profit share. Let's just help you understand something about profit share. We never lead in attraction or retention with profit share because it's a byproduct of our value. Okay. Profit share is also cultural. The reason why you see so many people that are willing to teach, coach, and consult, it's they know if they raise the level of productivity within any of our offices, that everyone benefits through the opportunity of profit share. And so it's the way that people give back and offer their mentorship, guidance, and however that. Cool. All right, market insights. One of the hottest button topics of questions that I get is what happens during an election season? What can I expect pre-election season? What can I expect post-election season? So here's my market insight for you. If you remember earlier, maybe 2-3 months ago, I gave you a little bit of a ditty, and it was, or jingle. Ooh, too soon. I gave you a little bit of a jingle. I had a little bit of a jingle, and the jingle was, the market is funky, right? Here's why. What I wasn't saying, but what I was kind of trying to make you think about, is that buyers and sellers don't like uncertainty. Okay? They don't like uncertainty. So if you think about it, June was soft. July was good. August was decent. September was soft. So I looked at this and said, I don't know what October is going to look like now that we're through October. Well, what does it look like? Because it'll really make a big impact as to where we're going into the first quarter of 2025. And remember last month I shared with you what goes up must come down. And going back to 2000, you can see that 23 was the low point. Now, here's a really interesting stat that I don't have on the slide. Going back over the last 30 years, 2023 was one of the worst residential real estate transactional markets in the last 30 years of history. The reason why I'm bullish on the market in the next 5 to 10 years is this. There's 70 million more people in our population in the US than there had been in the last 30 years. All of those people need a place to live. We've talked about the demographics of the US labor force and the average age of a first-time homebuyer. In the last 12 months, anybody know what the average age of a first-time homebuyer skyrocketed to, Eddie? 37. 37 average age. That is significantly higher. And do you know what the largest demographic in the US labor force is? 21 to 35 is the largest demographic in the labor force right now. So you have all these people that are now coming of age to buy a house, which is why I'm very bullish on where we are in the next 5 years. So how does this impact? And here's a little pricing stats I shared with the group. Time in the market beats timing the market, right? 24-year appreciation is up 146%, 10-year up 96, 5-year up 38. Okay. And the average homeowner stays in their house 5 to 7 years. Time in the market beats timing the market. So what happened post-election? Okay. And my reminder to you as you head into 25 is everyone's jealous of what you've got. No one is jealous of how you got it. Everyone wants the view, but no one wants the climb. That's the truth. So new inventory units. Here's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for how did October respond during the height of uncertainty? If October went backwards, we should be nervous. If October was flat or slightly up, we should be very bullish heading into 25. Okay. So new inventory, when we look at it versus September, it was down 8%, but it was up 4% versus October of last year. Okay. The reason why I look at the prior month is to look at the seasonality trends. Seasonality trends are from September, October, it should be down 8%, which to me tells me there wasn't a big impact of the uncertainty. And the fact that we were up 4% versus last year is positive. Total inventory units, there was no change from September of this year versus October of this year, and it was up 1.6% versus October of last year. Positive news. Expired inventory units, feel as if I've been stumping on this, but here's my stump. There's two things you need to understand. Expired units are up. They've been up every month because listing agents are getting canceled. So if you're a listing agent, don't get canceled. And number two is you have a real opportunity to be number two. And if you've never been number two, it's a way to diversify the way you look at your business in 25 is to look at expired listings because sellers are used to immediate gratification. And in a world where the real estate market is not now delivering real immediate gratification, you have a chance to be number two. And the lesson is that when you are number one, stay number one by right-sizing expectations. Okay. Sales absorption is demand. Okay. It's a percentage of inventory that goes under contract. For September, it was only off 1% versus October of last year, it was up 1%. That is good. It meant demand remained steady during a period of extreme uncertainty, okay, as it relates to politics. Now, average days on market, October was 19% slower than September, and it was 10% slower than last year. This is directly correlated to the uncertainty. People are just operating a bit more cautiously, but demand didn't subside and it didn't impact sellers' decisions to come to the market. Okay. Units going under contract versus September, it was basically flat. There was only 23 units different, which is really positive. That also tells me demand is still relatively strong and it's up 3% versus last year. Again, the reason why I'm comparing October versus September and October versus October last year is I'm looking for how the uncertainty is playing into the market in the data. Okay. So the fact that it remained consistent and stable is good during times of uncertainty. Impacts on pricing. This was the one I didn't predict. August and September, we saw some real steep price, not depreciation, but it went from like up 10% to like up 4 or 5%. In October, it was up 11% on the average and up 12% on the median. So all of a sudden, appreciation gains started spiking again, which I don't really have an absolute answer to. What I'll be paying attention to is what happens in November, December in pricing to see if this is an anomaly or a trend. And then you can see here on price per square foot, it's basically a wash. Okay. So post-election, what's happening? Or what can you expect? Demand bounced back a bit from, and we didn't see like more softening from what we saw in September. Buyers did not get more cautious, which is really important during times of uncertainty. Election cycles always cause buyers to be more cautious. Capital markets, aka the stock market, have been a bit of a roller coaster, but they've been really, really strong. And rates have been inconsistent. The Fed dropped the Fed rate, but the mortgages went up. It's like, who knows, right? Pricing, appreciations levels, gains leveled off. The pace we were appreciating wasn't totally sustainable, and a healthy slowdown was good. We'll see where this goes. Now, they're going to ask you, okay, what can I expect coming out of an election? Here's my prediction. Okay, my prediction is this: expect November, December, and January to operate at normal seasonal levels. Okay, if we operate in an environment that's flat to slightly up, we're in a really good spot. And that's kind of what I'm seeing in the data right now when I look at how the market operated through uncertainty. Okay. Buyers and sellers always like certainty. They do. This is an apolitical statement. It did not matter who wins and who loses. It matters around certainty in terms of an administration moving forward so that markets know how to react. Okay. I personally believe expect a pop in February and March. Because what you see, and this happens every election cycle, during times of uncertainty, people get more cautious. They get certainty, and certainty is installed in January, and then they can make decisions on what they want to do. And once you have certainty with your largest financial asset in terms of how the government plays a part in it, every election cycle, doesn't matter who comes into office, every election cycle, there's always a pop in February. When that shows up will kind of be unknown. Now, the only thing that can throw that off, in my personal opinion, the only thing is the geopolitical conflict that's happening and how the escalation of Ukraine and Russia and some of these things are playing a part. That is the only thing that, quite frankly, none of us can control. What I'm paying attention to is that how it impacts what we do. Make sense? So, my credence to you: chop wood and carry water. Just be consistent, do your job, show up every single day, and you will be fine because you're going to take advantage of a market that I think will continue to rise in 2025. And I want to say thank you for those that contributed to the United Way campaign, because I've challenged the group to make an impact personally and professionally in the way you showed up in that campaign. I'm sincerely appreciative of it. Cool? Love it. With that, I'm flipping it over to one of the most incredible people in our environment, who still coaches, teaches, and consults. I know many of you. And for those of you who haven't had the opportunity to hear from her, it's a real treat and pleasure. Kim, stage is yours.
Everybody, but we must Kimify this group, so stand up.
No.
Yes. Yes. Come on. There's some legends in the house. All right. We're we'll just do 5. We're gonna do 5 squats. Are we ready? Let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Yes, and Tina and I are twinning today. So for those of you that don't know me, I was the team leader here for 5 years. Prior to that, I was the team leader at North Shore for 2 years. And when I started, there was 1 office. I think I might have had my number wrong. I have to go pull the multi-year trend. So it was either 43 agents or 73 agents. Either way, less than 100 agents in 1 office when I started STL. And now we're almost up to 800. Obviously multiple locations, so it was a pure joy to be part of that entire growth process. It was pretty cool.
And so I'm still an investor at Germantown and still very involved. But 2 years ago, I retired from the TL role here out of this office and went to go start my dream company, For the Love of. So For the Love of, we are a personal and professional development company. I'd say 60% of my time is spent coaching. Of that coaching time, 50% are in the real estate space, all over the country. And then the other, I would say, percentage are different industries, small business owners. I've got some Northwestern Mutual clients. It's been super fun to kind of get a sneak peek behind the scene of other companies and small business owners and 100% commissioners, because it makes me a better coach with my real estate agents. I've learned new things. I'm also a keynote motivational speaker, and then I'm also a publisher. I'm a #1 published journal right here, For the Love of Self. And so don't let me forget, because I can get really distracted. I do have a freebie for you that I want to make sure you guys all get. So I had reached out to Charlie. We were talking, and I said, for the last 2 years, I have other real estate companies, you guys, that hire me to speak. Other lenders, they hire me to speak. Other organizations, and I reached out and I said, I think it's time. Like, I'm ready. What can I do to give back to people? And so I am willing to come and speak. Not going to charge you. You know, I'm here. I want to grow this company. I want to help you guys. That's one. And then two, if you ever have offsite, like you're meeting with your team and you need somebody to come in, I've also been brought in for that. So just know that I'm here for you. But we're going to be talking about who here has their 2025 GPS? Who's like, kind of? Ooh, okay. Kind of. Okay, so for those of you that don't know what the GPS, that's what we're going to talk about. And I'm going to talk about a small twist on it as well. So first of all, let's write this down, because I got to write. I don't know about you, but I like a good whiteboard. Let's hope these markers work. Every time I was a team leader, I would get up here and the markers would never work, right? Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, I would love a black one. But anyway, so G stands for goal. But here's what I want you guys to have as your goal. Your goal is either revenue or units. Revenue or units. Please do not choose volume. I know it's super enticing. Maybe if you're in the lending industry, you choose volume, I've learned. But revenue or units, because we cannot control the volume, but we can control our revenue and our units. So you decide. You decide what that is for your goal. Okay? If you're brand new in the business, please, I want to encourage you. It's your business. Yes, you can do what you want, but honestly, there's no reason you cannot sell 1 home a month. There is no reason, if you do what you're taught, if you ask, if you make real estate part of your life and who you are, because you help people. You're not salesy, like you help people. Put a roof over their head. Like, you are an integral part of people's dreams. There is no reason you cannot do that if you actually do the work, and it is work. Okay, so that's your goal. Okay, our P stands for, and I'm going to give you some new terms that I've been using in coaching. Our P stands for in the system. And by the way, I did not make this up. This is from the book, The One Thing. But we're also going to intertwine it with 12-week year. So if I had 2 books that I would recommend that you read right now, it would be The One Thing and 12-week year. So I like to say priorities, focuses, or I have to look, because what did we come up with? You guys have a look. I forgot what it was, and remember I went back to it. We just did this, so I don't want to forget what the other one that I said. It'll come back to me.
Systems and automation.
Oh, that's our next one.
one. Sorry.
Oh, here we go. Ooh, lead gen levers.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we're gonna come back to this in a second. Okay, so we have 1 goal, up to 3 priorities, and then up to under the priorities, we have up to 5 strategies. Okay, and we're gonna walk through a model. Or I've started adding systems, automations. So these are tweaks that I've made because I've been coaching to this tool for over 10 years. Okay, so let's just walk through a quick example. So let's do a real one. Like, somebody tell me what their unit goal is, and we'll walk through yours for 2025. What do we got? 60. Okay. Whoa. I'm gonna put a smiley face on that. Or some dollar signs. Yeah. Okay, so 60. So this is how we normally do it. We're gonna pick 3 focuses or 3 lead gen levers. I want to picture, like, I like to give the analogy of I'm in Vegas and I pull down the lever and I'm like, show me the money. Say it with me. Show me the money. Right? Now, here's the thing. If you've been in the business as long as Katie has, she knows what's working. She knows what's working. You probably could choose the same 3 priorities that she had last year. So if you were in the business now, I would go visit. You don't need to reinvent. You don't need to reinvent and add more. You do not need to add more. You just need to get better at what's already working. So if you were to pick your focuses or your lead gen levers, what would you pick as your top 3?
I mean, mine is probably what's working for me is my networking group.
Okay.
Follow up with past clients.
Okay, so like maybe your database. Okay. Okay. All right. What else?
Next year.
That's probably your
Yeah.
database. We're gonna consider that database. We'll say like our databases are met. We'll
Yeah.
say. Okay.
I mean, those are really the 2 strong focuses. that I-
Social media.
I mean, so I guess, but I put that as my networking, that's why, so.
Okay, you're considering social media networking. It's
do.
not like you're going to networking groups or,
I mean, I do, but like it's all on social media, so it's like
Okay.
all together.
so this is maybe networking / social media. Okay, that's a whole thing. Okay.
Like Family Feud.
I know.
Yeah, like, oh,
Survey
Okay.
said.
yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Let's just stick with this. We'll leave this open for a moment. Okay? So when you think about, let's just stay here, your social media.
Yep.
I want you to think about underneath social media, what are strategies, systems, or automations? And if you need examples, let me know, but like, what are some things that either A, you're doing that's working, or B, you want to implement?
What's working is my social media groups that I'm in, tagging
Okay,
and referring groups.
okay, groups.
Automation, I guess that would be, we're meeting weekly, like a weekly to strategize.
Okay. Okay. What else?
You tell me.
Okay, so like your database. So when we talk,
I mean, I've got like, you know, monthly emailers that are going out, I send out.
yeah, but like under the social media, what is there any activity that's happening that helps you with your database? Engaging or?
Yeah, all my
Deal.
posts that I do.
Okay. Okay. Okay, we're gonna,
Email,
yep.
text messages.
We're gonna stop there, and here's what I want you guys to write down when it comes to social media, besides posting, engagement. And this number 1 mistake that people make with social media is all they do is post. The algorithms are, in order for your post to actually show up, you have to be engaging.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, watching people's stories helps. Like,
Yes.
even if you're not watching it, you just put it on while you're in the shower and let it go through.
And you learn this in bold, right?
Yeah, seriously, that does.
DMing, if you DM people, right, we know now conversations are not just phone calls. They're DMs, they're texting, they're, you know, it doesn't have to be just phone calls to have conversations. Okay. Now, here's where I'm gonna put a little twist on this, and then we would dive into here. So this is where you're gonna spend some time and you're gonna say, okay, where is my 60 coming from? Where is it coming from? What are my concentrations? What are my focuses? We've got social media. We have database. Everybody, if you do not have database, like you can, like, please put down my Met database. 6%, write down this number, 6%. All of the studying and listening that I'm doing right now in regards to real estate, 6% of your database, if you're actually in touch with them, is going to move in 2025. There's maybe higher, maybe lower. I'm saying that's them moving. I did not say that's them referring you. That's them moving. So right now, if you're wondering what to say to your friends, your family, your neighbor, people in your database, like, let's call them and be like, hey, I study real estate. I was here. This is your value prop. I was in our weekly meeting. And we're told based on experts, 6% of people like you, this is Kim, your realtor, are going to move. Is that you? You could like literally go build your entire pipeline right now with that script. Imagine if you knew who your 6% was, or somebody was like a serious FOMO, maybe they wanted to be part of the 6%, as we say, right? Okay, here's the piece where I'm gonna tweak it, okay? So let's just say this is client parties, right? Whatever it might be, right? You've got all your little things, right? And you're like, look at my one-page business plan. And this is the way I describe it, and I've seen it happen. Do this. Oh, you do this. Oh, then you do this. Then, oh, you do this. Oh, boom, you do this. Oh, wait. Someone has the magic pill. 1-800. I'm going to put this phone number on my sign, and they told me I'm going to get 17 leads daily. Oh, now, boom, 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 boom. Oh, wait, I just went to a class. No, physicals are fine. I'm not saying they don't work. And now you're like, boom, 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 boom. This is literally what we do. This is my life. I'm like all over the place. I coach, I speak, I publish, I create, I'm a podcast guest. It's like boing, boing, boing. And I'm never, ever totally systematizing and automating anything. Anything. Does anybody relate to this? Yeah. So I thought to myself as I was coaching this, I'm like, okay, what are you going to do differently this year? And I'm coaching this to you because I'm doing it and I want to test it. And I love to test things and see how they work. Love to break systems and tools and models and be like, are they really right? Do I really have to do squats every day? Yeah. Okay. Just saying. Especially when you're over 50. Just don't even get me started. That's a whole nother subject. Okay. But anyway, so here's what I did. And I'm going to be a guest on about 30 podcasts next year. I've got them already in the pipeline. There is a lot of systems and automations that have to happen with that if I do it right. It's my job to show up really good for the host. It's my job to make them look good, right? Just like when I go and speak, the number one thing I say to the host is I say, what can I do so that you shine? Who's your audience? What is their language? What do they speak? Because sometimes I speak and it's not realtors and they use a different language. Or like, can I do an F-bomb? Can I not do an F-bomb? Like, what's your culture, right? And so I was thinking about this whole podcast thing. I'm like, wow, I have a lot of work to do so that they automatically get a thank you email. They automatically get my headshot, my bio, so they don't have to dig for it. I title the email correctly. And I thought, what if I were to take that particular priority and all I did was concentrate on that priority for 1 quarter or 12 weeks. 1 quarter or 12 weeks. So I built out my annual and I was like, this is it. This is it. And it's not that I'm not doing other things, but I want to get to the end of my first 12 weeks and have this humming. And I thought back to when I was selling real estate and I was like, oh my gosh, I sold real estate for 15 years. If I would have done that, you know how many things would be finished and automated? And then here's the other thing. What is my quote? Something about saying no. I feel really harsh when I say no.
Anyone not to.
Yes.
Is as
Steve Jobs.
important.
Deciding what not to do is as important as deciding what to do. This gives me permission when somebody comes up to me, they're like, hey girlfriend, oh, I have this really cool thing. You're gonna pick up a ton of leads. It's this cool 1-800 number. You can put it on a sign, blah, 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 whatever. I can say, ooh, I love that, Katie. Wanna know what? I'm gonna take note of that. Maybe I'll do that second or third quarter. Because that is how businesses do business. You go to a large corporation, even if you ask them for a donation, or you say, hey, do you wanna like invest in this billboard? They will say, you wanna know what? Not on my plan. Come back to me in third quarter. So I want to challenge you to take time to do this GPS. Okay? If you're newer, you have the support, you just have to show up. We'll tell you what works, right? And then when you go and you decide on only 3 priorities, you just pick one and you go and just do that for 12 weeks. Give yourself permission, like a lot of this social media stuff, like groups, weekly meetings, like even the engagement. Like it's a system to engage. It's like deciding so that when you go to your calendar, you don't have to think about it because you know every Tuesday this is what you do. That's the point of the system, because our brains, right, they're all over the place, right? And the world doesn't help us, right? The social media and all that stuff, right? But here's the beautiful part about social media, which I love sharing, is it is, what is one of my favorite words?
Free.
Free! Like social media is free!
That there are more ease to that word. You're
Free,
Yes.
right? Like it's seriously, but it's only free and only works is if you have a system around it. And so that's what a GPS is, kind of coupled with the 12-week year. Kind of coupled with the 12-week year. So when we talk about Steve Jobs, the quote, deciding what not to do is as important as deciding what to do. The story is when he went back to Apple in 1997, right? He came back. And the story is he was confused. He was like, I don't even know what to tell my friends to buy. Because he was overwhelmed. And they had versions and more versions of dozens and dozens of computers. They're like, this version, this version, this version, this version. And he's like, I don't even know what to talk about. And so he took the catalog and he cut it by 70%. For 8,000 employees, he cut them down to 5,000. You want to know what? We're going to go do this. And that's kind of what made me think, like, I think back and I'm like, wow, I've kind of been living a life where I'm just doing things okay. Like, I've done a lot of things, and not just okay. I'd say I've done a lot of things really great, but there's a difference between great and outstanding. There's a huge difference. The one that stood out to me, Jim Collins, good to great. The difference between most good companies and the few that become insanely successful. Insanely successful. Most individuals and companies have way too many goals. Those that succeed at the highest levels have no more than 3 priorities. Ooh, doesn't that feel good? Like you could go into 2025. Boom, 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 3 priorities. You know what you're doing in January and you're only concentrating on that. You say, nope, talk to the hand that face ain't listening because that ain't my priority. That kind of feels good to me. And it doesn't feel so overwhelming. And so that's the GPS. Any thoughts? I guess on especially my people who have done GPSs, followed GPSs, you know, whatever. Like, what is your thought on that?
I love that. I think the hardest part for us being in real estate is when you're having a down month to stay on that system. Because you're like, what
Yes.
else can I do to bring it back up to where I need to be? So that's when
Yep.
my brain's like, what do I need to do?
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So I get that.
What, like what we were talking about even.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I think any person, when you have a system and that system doesn't work automatically, you psych yourself out and say, what did I do wrong? What do I need to do? So then there goes your system.
Right. Exactly. And imagine too, like, okay, you get this automated, right? And so let me give you an example. So I stack all my coaching calls on Mondays and Wednesdays. I stack them and they're exhausting. It's like, you know, 2, 3 in a row, and then I take a break. 2, 3 in a row, take a break, right? It's a different mindset. I'm probably listening to a different podcast that day. It's growth minded, it's high performance related, it's whatever. I'm getting ready, right? But if I were to be like coaching call Monday, then coaching call Tuesday, then, oh, don't mind me, I gotta go do a coaching call, and then another coaching call. Like it's different mindset, right? And then Thursdays, I keep pretty open. It's creative, like to publish models, and you got to get creative, you got to get in the zone, you got to do different things and whatever. That is a system. That's what I'm talking about. When we're going to do this, the least you need to think about, the better. And imagine if you automated this and it was the same, and now your first quarter's done, your second quarter it's something else, your third quarter, and then the fourth quarter, you don't have to do another one the fourth quarter. You could actually go and find the one that you liked the most, that you worked on for 12 weeks. For 12 weeks, you worked on that. And you could be like, I'm going to go back to that one and add a little bit more icing on the cake. I'm telling you, you guys, all small business owners, you are doing way too much. it doesn't mean that you're ignoring this. I'm not saying you're ignoring your sphere of influence. I'm just saying when you get up in the morning and you plan your weekly big rocks, and you're like, what are the really important things I need to get done this week that move me forward to my goal, my 60? You actually will not need to think about it because you decided it's this. Nothing else. That's it for 12 weeks. And now you go and look at your calendar. Doesn't mean you need to be working on your big rock every day. I don't work on my big rocks on Monday and Wednesday. I am kidding myself. But I do work on them Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, probably even Saturday morning. It gives you permission to then go time block. When we talk about time blocking, which I think that's what I'm going to be talking about on December 10th, how you time block like a champ, right? And love it and have joy around it, and have white space and free time. What's most important is you time block the most important thing, which is the big rock. And this becomes the big rock for 12 weeks. So I have for you, because I like to get you out on time. Okay, so remember I said I have a freebie? Here's my phone number, 414-510-9938. Okay. If you text me, Flo Realtor, because you guys are no realtors, okay? That actually stands for the love of. That's my company, for love of. Flo
That is it.
Realtor.
The progressive girl.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, I'm working
you have
on,
that energy.
don't even get me started about trademarking. So somebody has for the, like, I'm working on trademark right now. And for the love of.com is not available, but all these Flow domains are available. So Flow Realtor, and what I will send you is a 16-page download that was specifically built for realtors that's based on my For the Love of Self journal. It teaches you how to do your weekly setup, your daily, and your end of the week. And it's specifically for realtors. I have 5 different versions. So if you just text me, then I'll get you that. 'Cause I don't have the landing page set up yet. So I can't send you there. Yeah. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, cool. Charlie, do you have anything else to add?
I think Kim. Following your coaching. Barn Heights.
Thank you. Happy to be here whenever I can bring value, so. Okay, you guys are ready?
Under GovT meeting next week, we'll be back first week of December, and it's also the same week of the. Coming soon. What do you got? So,
It's gonna be hard to like dress up nice
Wait,
for the
coming
fiscal
soon.
tax.
Coming soon.
Oh, coming
Mark.
soon.
Mark's gonna teach them Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So we've got a house in the Pines, Dousman, 4 bedroom, 3 bath, 3 full bath. It's on water. Elevator, 779 coming December. Delayed and going live some of it. And we have another property, Pewaukee. There's a house just north of Pewaukee Beach. We don't have a date yet, but it's coming soon. We're cleaning out the house right now, but that's gonna be going live hopefully in the next month. And it's gonna be around 370, maybe 379. And great location, like if you like, it would be a great Airbnb, honestly, because you're right. Your whole front lawn is the lake. It's a ranch. Oh no, 2-story. It's not a ranch. It's very low. Bedrooms upstairs, 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom down. It's a little odd. It used to be the blacksmith's house for walking back. It's a little history.
Alex?
We have a ranch, just north of 18th and College, 275, 3 bedrooms, 1.5 baths, brand new roof, little cosmetic work in addition, but, good homecoming.
Go ahead.
Tony G and Greco Monterey Realty Group. So we've got a new Berlin listing that is launching on Thursday. 4 bed, 4 bed, 3 full bath, finished basement on an acre. Yeah, it has a above ground pool, really nice deck. And it is like 2,400 square feet above grade, not including finished basement. And we are listing at it is very well updated and maintained, newer roof, some newer mechanics, and that will be at $549,900.
Fireplace.
It does.
That sounds like a good one.
Bring them, Katie. Bring them.
Has to
That's
have a
a new-
fireplace, that's the only.
That's a new girl.
Who cares about
Yeah.
that?
Anybody else coming soon?
We have a purchase going live on Friday, pictures are on Thursday. It is a 3-bedroom, 2 full bath ranch in Tulsa. 114 right up of North Avenue. There's a brand new park there. That's a little-
Not just any foot, but a mark.
The park. Well,
Yeah.
it's
Oh.
really
The most anal person I know. He does a great job.
nice. Yeah, it's staged.
They will not be a speck of grass out of place.
Right. 399.
I know.
And then we have one in West Dallas that's probably gonna go into the later this afternoon. Showings begin the 2nd of December. It's a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath ranch. 91st in West Dallas, 229.9, I think. Hard to tell.
Okay. All right.
Release
Give
it
it
to
up
the
for
wild.
Kim.
Yeah.
Joe, I heard it too. I heard it too. I heard it too. Don't worry about it.
Also, in New Jersey.
Like, as in,
It's in,
Let's go. What? Yeah. I'm good.